everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie, back with you with a couple of journals. So this is Carolyn Musing's Gift of Grace Hymn Journal Kit. And because it was hymns, I got really excited about, first I was thinking I was going to make this huge journal. Then I thought, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll make like a lap book and had 2 journals in there. And the more I was working on it, less inspiration I was getting, let's put it that way. And so I was really praying about it, going, okay, Lord, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to leave this in your hands. And this is what he came up with. So 2 separate journals, one with just the hymns and one with all the rest of the papers that are gorgeous in the kit. Now there's several kits in this. So you've got the Gift of Grace fussy cuts. You've also got the actual journal kit with all of the pages, including the hymn pages, which I'll be showing you after we're done constructing this. I will give you a full flip through of both of these. And then there is also, it is a notebook that I did a previous video on, and I've included it into this. So I have used mostly the kits, maybe a few extra things, but not much. Mostly it's going to be in decoration side. Now I've done this one on my own, and except for some of the things on the inside. And then this one we've done mostly putting it together. I've done this on camera with you. So at the end, when I do all the show of the flip throughs, then you'll be able to see all the papers and all the pages and all the gorgeous stuff that went inside. So let's get started. I thought we'd do a couple of things. So I have made these hidden paper clips, and I did them a little different. This time I cut the strips about 1 inch or so wide, depending on which piece I was working on, and lengthwise as well, depending on which piece. And then I used a paper clip that way. And what I did is putting them up a little bit higher, they wouldn't stick out the top. So if I had just put a paper clip down here like I've done before, they would stick up way high. This way they'll go down quite a bit in your journal. So I thought we would just do this one together. So this is our beautiful nativity, and I've already prepared the piece, and I've already inked all these and cut these out. Now these I did mirror image on my Cricut. So if you have a Cricut, or I believe a Silhouette will do that, you can do these as mirror image, and then that way they match on both sides. So then all I'm going to use is my Fabri-Tac and put glue. And this is one piece folded in half. And then we're going to place it right about there. Whoops. And then just hold that down a little bit. The other thing I want to do, which I didn't do on these, is to ink the back side. And then that way it's not so stark, even though probably won't see much of it. I like to just do this so that it's not a stark white sticking out. That's what I did on the others as well. So just give it a little ink on the back side, and then I went around the front side as well. And once we have this side down, then we're going to add the glue again. Now I added the glue to the very top just to match those pieces at the top. You can see on these 3. So I'm going to do a little bit here, so that they're secure there, and then the rest of the glue is going on this piece with the paper clip. If you hear little tippy toes, that is my little buddy coming in here. He has to come check out what Mama's doing. Okay, and then press that down really well, especially at the top where we have glued that together, and on the paper clip. So you want that to seal at the top really well, and also over the paper clip. So then you'll have it sealed at the top like this, but then you can still put this onto your page or onto a pocket. And it just slides on like so. Now on these, what I have done is added some glossy accents. I will do that off camera on some of the areas here on both sides. And that way they will all look the same. The other thing I wanted to do was I made this off camera, but there's some things that I wanted to do on camera with you. So I'm creating 2 journals out of this kit, and one of them has all the pages, all the beautiful picture pages, and the other one has all of the hymns. And I've printed the hymns on vellum. So I'll be doing that one with you shortly here on camera. But I thought on this one we would go ahead and do a few things. So I have created this. I've added some resin, as you can see here. And this is what I did on the spine. This is done with elastic, and here is the back. And I also did some resin on here. Now I picked out these pieces and I glued them on some gold glitter paper that I have. And I want these to go somewhere here on the front. So I thought we would pop this up here and pop this one up maybe down here, and then I thought about putting this right about there. So that's my plan, and I'm going to use some pop-up tape or puff tape for that. Okay, so I have my puff tape. I think this piece is probably going to work out right here, just to give a little bit of dimension. And I just love the way the background of the glitter looks. So this is some glitter paper. I think I got this at Michael's some time ago, or Joann's a long time ago, and then I was gifted several packages of the shiny cardstock paper and also the glitter paper in several different colors. So with this one, I'm pretty sure came from Michael's or Joann's. There. I think that would be fine. And then just make sure it doesn't stick over at all, because you don't want it to hinder when you're opening your journal. Okay, so we've got that. That looks really pretty now, along with the glossy accents. And then we'll put a piece on the back of this. Thought this would go nicely right here. So there we have the front. I don't think that's straight. Let me just adjust that a little bit. There we go. Okay, so there's the front. Then the other thing I wanted to show you were the pockets. And there's several in here that match up with some of the pages. So I have gone through and figured out what they are, and they're already ready to go and inked up. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these in with you. Got one like this, and here we've just got a standard pocket, but it matches. And then match it up with these little carolers and their outfits. Looks right about there. Just work with it till you get it in the right spot. And then this one will match up as well. Let me do this side one, and then I'll go ahead and do the rest of these off camera. So that's that. I don't think, and I've already done one like that. Oh, so let's do one like this. So this one, you're just going to fold the tabs. You can score it if you wish. I'm just going to fold. So fold the side tabs, and you've probably done these multiple times with Carolyn's kits. And then we're going to put glue at the very bottom and on the tabs. And that gives a little bit wider pocket for you to add all kinds of stuff in there. And then just line it up again. And press it down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera, and I'm going to finish all the rest of these pockets. And we are going to then next go ahead and begin the second journal. Okay, for journal number 2, what I've done is I have printed all of the hymn pages on vellum. Plus, I've added in a vintage from a 1956 hymnal book, some of the Christmas hymnals. I've added a page in each one of the signatures. And I've also added an additional writing page, and that came from Christmas Garden last year, I believe it was. It's a writing kit. And these are all printed on vellum. I've also reinforced the edges of the vellum pages with some gold washi tape. So these are the ones that are going to go into this journal. I thought it'd be fun to have one you could write in, one that you could also write in but enjoy some of the hymns. So this is going to be independent. So I've got some pieces ready. I am going to use the covers that come in the kits. And then what I did, and these also come in the kit, is I cut these out and I used a paintbrush and some gold paint to go around the edges here and on here. So these will pop up. I'll do this one with you on camera. I've also done a bow and Gloria in Excelsis Deo, and I also did the star. And I did the star also with some paint, but first I put some glitter glue on it, and I really didn't care for it, so I went over it. So I'm going to use these pieces on the front. So when we get to that, I will show you how I did the painting. I didn't have a gold pen, so if you have a gold pen, that would be great. So I'm going to set these pieces aside. I've also got backing that's going to go behind these in gold, and I'm going to set these aside. And we are going to put this together. So I got this off of Amazon, and I'm just going to cut some pieces. So I'm going to make them longer than what I need. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my spine. And this is also going to be, on the other book, it became the covering for the spine. On this one, I am going to use Carolyn's spine. And then you just come in, leave a gap, of course, because you want this to move freely. And I'm leaving probably like 1/8 of an inch gap, and then fold this over and fold this over. And then we're going to cut another piece. And then we're going to add our spine piece here, and then the second part of the cover, like so. Now you can cover this some more with tape if you wish. I did on the other one because I was using it mostly for my spine on the outside, but this one I don't think I'm going to. So that puts our cover together. Now this is about 110 pound, but I wanted it sturdier, so that's why I have some gold paper that's also about 110 pound that's going to go on top. And then I also have it for the inside. So for the outside, we have our spine, which is right here. And there's going to be a little bit of that brown showing at the top and the bottom, but I'm okay with that. So I'm going to ink this up. So here are my sides. So I'm going to fold along each of these edges here. So right on this outer edge of the white line right here. That's where I'm going to fold. You can use your scoreboard. I want it to be movable both ways. And then this is going to go and get glued onto the outside here. I want same amount top and bottom. Let me come up here a little bit so you can see. I'm going to go ahead and use my Fabri-Tac. So that looks pretty good. So we got to make sure we get this down good. So I'm going to give this a good press. Make sure that it is secure. So when it folds like this, this is your spine. So this is what you'll see. So just want to make sure that this dries well. Now, while this is drying, we can continue on. So I have the pieces for the outside. So they're the same size as my covers. Spine will be a little bit smaller, but that's okay. So these are going to get glued on here, and then these are going to be glued on top. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is glue these on top. Now these I did not ink, so I'm going to go ahead and ink those. So do that first. I'm going to go ahead and stay with the Fabri-Tac. So now I'm just going to add the glue to here. Okay, so that is our outside. So then we can do, now I'm going to be doing eyelets and elastic as well. So I am just going to cover this with a scrap piece of paper. And what I've chosen for the inside is the same gold pieces that are going to go here, and then these gorgeous pieces here. Let's see, I want to turn this way to go like that. Aren't those pretty? So let's go ahead and we'll do that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and glue this in place. Okay, so now we can work on these two pieces. So I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so now we have our inside panels, and now we are going to, now they're going to have a tiny, tiny border around, not a lot. So not bad, just a tiny border. And then let's just make sure that we've got our crease good before I put these on. You want it to be able to move freely and open up nicely. So I think that looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's put this one over here and this one. I like that. Okay, so there is the cover. So let me just show you what I did when I did this gold real quick. And I saved the smallest piece, and then we can always add on these pieces here. So for this, I have this paint, and I got this off of Amazon a long time ago. I just looked for gold glitter paint, and this is what I used. I used this dark one right here. And all I did was add some water. And I had this little tiny brush. Very tiny brush. And all I did was take my piece and get some of this paint and then kind of brushed off a bunch, and then I carefully went around the edge. Now, if you don't like detail, this probably isn't for you. But if you do like detail, it's a fun way to add some gold, especially if you don't have a gold pen. Now, if you have a gold pen, perfect. You are perfect then. You can just do this right around along the edge. It's basically, I just colored in the white. Okay, and then let it dry. And then don't forget to wash your brush. It's a watercolor, so that's helpful. So I'm going to let this one dry. It won't take long. And then I have already done it so that I didn't have a lot of white around the edges. I didn't worry too much about the inside here, but I did do it on all the outside. So when these pieces are on here that pop up, you won't see the white edges. And there is our cover. So I think I'm going to add some ink along here. Would be super fun if you had some real brads that you could add to this. I think that would be awesome. But you'd have to do it before you put in your inside piece, and then it's going to make it kind of bulky. So I think I'm happy with this. This is our signatures. So you've still got plenty of space in here to add all kinds of things. So when you're getting ready to do your pages, think about, are you going to be doing them with eyelets and elastic, because you want to make sure you have some room top and bottom so you don't bend your pages. So you know what? We are right here. Let's just do it. So I have a bunch of eyelets, and I have some that I think would be perfect. So let's use these. I think I'll use these on the other one. So they are a nice color. Yeah. So we need 6. 2, 4, 6. Okay. Crocodile. So we'll just do this on camera. Now I don't measure, I just eyeball. I want to make sure I'm up enough so that I don't cut my pages. So if I stay in that brown area where the tape is right here, and right here, I should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just space out. Pretty part goes on the outside. So we're going to push them in from the outside in. Just like this. So you've got them all in, and then go ahead and put them in place. Just like that. So now you've got those, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. They go in pretty easy. If you have the big bite, maybe you have, your hands get sore, mine get sore sometimes. If you have the big bite, I think it's a little bit easier on your hands to be able to do more of the eyelets. So that's an option for you. Okay, those look amazing. I like the color. Really goes well with this. All right, now comes the fun part. I always have to think about this. I'm going to use the same elastic. Just going to get a bunch of it off. And I don't want to have the elastic out here. So I always have to think about this. So I'm going to go up. I don't know yet how much I'm going to need. And then I'm going to go down. And then I'm going to go across to the next hole here. And what you have is that. And then down. And maybe this isn't exactly the correct way of doing it, but this is kind of how I've done it. Back up. And then here is where it gets a little tricky. So what I did is I went out and back in through this center hole so that I have this right here. Oh, let me just turn it so you can see it. And then I cut my elastic and I did the same thing down here. So I went back up into the center. And then I made my tie. Now what I did is I went underneath when I was tying this. So I cinch it up as much as you can so that you're not too loose. That looks pretty good. And then after I started to tie my knot, I put my pieces underneath both pieces so that I was cinching it together, if that makes any sense. And then make a knot. And then I just made a second knot just to be sure. So it ends up being in the center signature, but it worked and it was okay for me. So now let's go ahead and put our pages in. So here's our first signature. Pull it all the way in. So there we have. Second signature. Here's where you're going to have the double elastic. Just carefully pull that through, turn that over, and then our last signature. So that makes it pretty simple and easy to put them in. And there we have our hymnal. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a bunch of decorating. I'm going to finish putting in the pockets, and then I'm going to come back to you and we will go ahead and do a final flip through. Before I leave you though, I want to show a couple other things. So in the kit are these envelopes. I hope I'm doing them right. So they give you a little sample. Carolyn gives you an amazing little sample. So I just kind of followed the example. So what I ended up doing was folding, or you can score the sides. And I'm hoping this is right. Carolyn, if you're watching this, you can tell me if I did not do this correctly. And then I folded here. I opened it up. Now, one thing I noticed is I have to be careful how I'm folding it, or I won't be able to close down the top. So I'm going to be real careful, making sure. So I think I'm going to fold the top. So let's just fold that. And then I know where I can go, which is perfect for here. And I think they go like this. Aren't they cute? I think I got it right. Hopefully I got it right. But I just love them. I think they're just, and then they just open like this. So there's the two. So that's these. And then you also have these two, which you've seen multiple times. Vanessa do, myself do. You just cut out the window and you're going to fold it here, and you're also going to fold it. There's two marks here that Carolyn gives you, and also shows you if you don't cut that off, you will see where to fold. So you would just fold here. Just make sure it's straight. And then you have your flap. So you can make this as a flip, or you could fold it inside if you wanted to. But it's made for a flip, I believe. So then you would just glue down the three sides, or two sides actually. So two sides has a card to go inside. And I'll fold this in half. I did print on the back side. And then this card would go on the inside, and the gift of grace is going to peek through the window. So there's that one. And then this one is the same way. You would glue this to the page. Let me put it up right side up. This part you glue to the left side to form the pocket, and then this goes inside here. You would cut this out and put acetate. So I know you've seen us do these multiple times, so those are pretty easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera now, do a bunch of decorating, and then we'll come back for a final flip through. Okay, they are all decorated. So let me go ahead and do a flip through for each of these. So let's move this one aside, and let's look at the hymns journal first. So here I have added this with some glitter paper behind it with a couple of poinsettias. And these we did on camera where we popped them up, and the gold around it with a paintbrush. I added this trim here, and then these eyelets and this closure right here. So that's pretty much all I did on the outside. So let's take a look on the inside. So on this side I added this flip pocket. And I added a Velcro behind it, and it has a card that comes out. So that's perfect. I added a tab to the top. And then these are all of the hymnal pages I printed on vellum, and then I've added just a tab on the front of each of the signatures, and I am dangling a charm below each one. So I'll just quickly flip through this. This is regular vintage hymnal page that came out of a 1956 hymnal that was gifted to me. And then more vellum. O Holy Night. O come, Emmanuel. O Little Town of Bethlehem. And then I thought I'd add a couple of writing papers in here just in case somebody wanted to jot down some thoughts from some of the music. And these came from Christmas Garden from last year's kits. So they are the lined pages that Carolyn has in her shop. So I thought it'd be fun to just jot down some notes or thoughts as you're looking through this and all the hymnals. While shepherds watch their flock. And then here's the center. Now these are all put in with elastic and eyelets, and I'll show you that. God rest ye merry gentlemen. And there's more writing here. And there's 3 signatures in here. Angels we have heard on high. And then this page has this fun little piece to add on here and this card that goes inside. So it looks like a little post mailbox. So the pages are really beautiful. So I added that. Here's the other part, Angels We Have Heard on High, which is the vintage hymnal. And joy to the world, the Lord is come. And joy to the world here. And then this is signature 2. Here I added this charm. And on this one I added a music charm. Let me show you that real quick. So it's a music charm. I thought that would go good. Seems that this is all hymnal. And on this one we have Jesus. Let's go and see what God has done. Away in a manger. And here I have another vintage hymnal page, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. One of the things I did do on all of the vellum pieces and when I put this vintage music hymnal paper together is I did use some gold washi tape just to give it some strength. I do use a thick vellum, so it's pretty sturdy, but it could get a little bit torn over time, so I added some washi tape. What child is this? And then we have another writing page. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And then here is the back of that. And then here's another writing page. I thought the Christmas Garden went really well with this, so I wanted to use the lined papers from that. Good Christian Men Rejoice and Silent Night, Holy Night for the vintage. And Gentle Mary laid her child. Came upon a midnight clear, and O come all you faithful. And then here is the last signature, and here I just put a tiny snowflake charm, kind of hard to see. God's gift was wrapped in swaddling bands, a Savior sent by loving hands. Believe in him and you will find a love eternal, strong and kind. Oh, sing a song of Bethlehem. And then I have Angels from the Realms of Glory from the vintage music and Away in a Manger. And then here is some writing as well. You can write on this vellum. And then I took one of the fussy cuts and I backed it with some glitter cardstock and then cut that out and I added it to this writing page. And then Silent Night, Holy Night. We have, and you can also write on the back of the vellum. What I liked about the vellum is you only have to print on one side because it kind of is see-through, so you get to see both sides. It's not like clear on one side, but it still gives it a look like there's something on the other side of it. So more lined paper. And then this is the first Noel. Hail thou long expected Jesus for the vintage. And it came upon a midnight clear. So in the book, I just looked for all the Christmas ones I could find, and then I just tried to space them out in here because some of the songs were the same. Then we have this beautiful star. And we 3 kings of Orient are. And then here I added another fussy cut, Hope. Backed it with some glitter paper. And then here, this is one of the envelopes. And I just added a whole bunch of extra fussy cuts in here. And I glued it down, added a Velcro closure and also this poinsettia. Here is the back, and then here is where I added the eyelets. And in the video I mentioned it'd be fun if you had thought about it ahead of time. You could either use like a flat back bead in this size, or maybe even a few of the brads, and really make this a fun spine. So that's an option there. So that is the hymnal one. I'll give you another look at the front. So let's take a look at the other journal. So this journal is the one that I used all the rest of the papers that didn't have the hymns on them. So here are fussy cuts that I cut out, put them on glitter paper that I had gotten a long time ago. They're a little darker gold, like more of a vintage gold, but I only had one sheet, so I had to use some of a different gold glitter paper that I had. I added resin and on the berries, and then also the gift of Christmas. And here, this is the tape that I showed you how I used this in constructing the other journal. And then I added some fussy cuts and joy on here. And then here are the eyelets that I sewed in, and this is also done with elastic, so it's nice. You can be able to take out the pages, write on them, decorate them, play on them, do whatever you want to with them. We have some glitter on the back here. Not glitter, we have glossy accents. So I added the glossy accents. I think I said glitter here, and I meant to say glossy accents all along here. So anything that is shiny. And I'm using the same ribbon, and I'm using the same eyelets. They're little flowers. And then I just pulled these through. So on the inside, we have a pocket here. I added a pocket, and then I decorated this tag, put this on here, did another fussy cut and added it here. Here I've also added tabs, 2 in each of the signatures, and then I added charms. So here's a snowflake charm here, some writing space, and this is one of the flips, pocket flip, which has Oh Holy Night, and I added these 2 fussy cuts that I had mirrored in my Cricut, and I thought they would go perfect on the top of this card. And then you've got this beautiful cross on this side. This is some doily paper that I get off of Etsy. And then here is another one of the pockets, which I added a bunch more of the fussy cuts. And then I'll just flip through some of these pages. And then on the doilies, I added doilies, 1 in each signature. So on this one, I added another fussy cut that I backed it with the gold glitter paper. And then on this side, I just added another fussy cut as a pocket, and then just tuck some ephemera in there. And then we have some parchment paper here, so lots of writing space. Now these are the hidden paper clips. And I showed you how I made these a little bit different, so they would go lower. So if you did go put them on the top of your page, they would come down a lot lower. So I chose to put them on my pockets. I thought it really added something to the pocket. And then we have a postcard here. God's gift of love came down that night, a Savior born, the world's true light. Believe in Him, your heart made new, eternal life, His gift for you. So it's gorgeous. And then we have a Christmas tree dangle here on this tab. Now I have envelopes in each one of these. I did not decorate. I did not add anything. I thought it would be fun for whoever has this journal to be able to write, make little notes. Maybe you're going to use this as a kind of planner for Christmas. So I just left these open. Here we have a pocket that matches on the page, and then I added this tag in here, and then also this hidden paper clip. I thought that this one went perfect. Perfect size for right here. Parchment paper, and the other half of the doily I did not put anything on. It can be written on. Then I did this tag with just this bit of lace at the top, and then added a fussy cut glued to the glitter paper. This glitter paper is a little lighter, so it's not as deep dark as the other one. And then on this side, this is a pocket here. I was thinking about possibly printing off some music on some parchment paper, but I didn't have the right color that I wanted. So I will probably do that and then add it in at a later time. But they match the page. I just love the ones that match the page. Here I just added another fussy cut, backed with the glitter paper, and added a couple of fussy cuts in there. And then here we have the greatest gift, a gift from God, so pure, so true, a love unending poured for you, not wrapped in silver, gold, or thread, but in a manger's humble bed. The heavens sang, the angels cried, for unto you is born this night. A Savior came, our hope, our peace, the chains of sin at last released. When in his name you place your trust, you find a treasure that won't rust. Forgiveness flows, your heart made new, life of joy begins in you. No greater gift has God bestowed than Jesus Christ, his love outpoured. Believe in him, receive, rejoice. Salvation song becomes your voice. So lift your heart, your soul, your hands. God's gracious gift forever stands. For in his Son, his love displayed, eternal life for you is made. Carolyn Myers. This is Carolyn. She did this. Have a little belly band here. I thought about, again, tucking one of those, but when I get the right color of parchment paper, this is the only parchment paper I had, and I really wanted a little more this color. So I will see if I can find something. And then here we have, look at this pocket. Isn't that the cutest thing? The little boy and little girl praying. So I put this postcard in here, and this hidden paper clip I just tucked down there. Got the carolers here, and we have bells and a bow, and I think it's probably poinsettias for this charm. More writing space. Of course, lots of writing space here. Here's another pocket that matches the page, and I did this tag to go inside. And on the back of these, you can write, so there is places for that. And I think on some of them I also added, let's see if I did it on this one. Yes, I added a little fussy cut, which you can tuck a little note or something in there if you wanted to. So some of those have that. And then here I did this on the doily again, the same thing on the back. Added a few fussy cuts peeking out. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? I absolutely love this. More writing, lots of writing. Here we have another tag. God's gift of love came down that night, a Savior born, the world's true light. Believe in him, your heart made new, eternal life, his gift for you. And then this is also a hidden paper clip. Lots of writing, another envelope. Here's another charm. This one has a snowman on it. And we have the angels with joy. Lots of writing. And again, it's done with elastic, so you can pull them out and write on them and put them back in. We have another postcard here, and we have another matching page with pocket, and also a hidden paper clip. The other part of the doily, more writing, more doily paper. And then here we have the church, which is a matching pocket, and I thought it was perfect, so I did this again on glitter paper and glued the fussy cut on it, added the star along with the lace at the top, and then I put a brad through it. I also put one of little fussy cut on the back. So if you had little notes you wanted to tuck in there, you could do that. Here's a stocking for here on this tab. Noel. The 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. And then we've got doily paper, and I took this pocket and added it here. I added these fussy cuts on the front of this tag along with some ribbon and a brad, and then this is also a hidden paper clip. So the hidden paper clip ones I put through my Cricut, and then it has the opportunity to do mirror image, so that way they matched up perfectly. Look at this gorgeous. And then we have here this decoration on the doily, and again another pocket here, little tuck spot. Lots of writing in here, so this makes a really good writing journal. Maybe you want to use it at Christmas for all the events you have going on and you want to keep track. Put little notes or receipts or Christmas lists, whatever you want to do, you could do in this. Down here we have a little Christmas package dangle. More writing. And look at this, just gorgeous. Another parchment, so you've got lots of writing. The other part of the doily, and then this gorgeous page. And on this side we have another matching pocket with the page. And then, oh, Sing a Song of Bethlehem. And I put a little fussy cut on the back. You could tuck something in. Doily paper. And then we have a pocket here and we have a pocket here. So I'll probably end up putting something in there eventually once I can figure out the parchment paper I want to use. And then I made a pocket for the back here, added this fussy cut on, and then this is what I did on a recent video. We made this, which is a little notepad. So you've got pockets here with cards, and there's a video out on that. And then got tags, decoration, and lots of writing here. And I thought it would be perfect to have this right inside this. And this has a little elastic closure like that. So I really wanted to incorporate this in, but I wanted to make sure you could take it out and utilize it. So it tucks into this pocket perfectly, just like that. So here's the back again, the spine, and the front. So that is my two projects. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope maybe you'll give this a try, maybe try some of the ideas in the video or some of your ideas that you come up with. We'd love to see it. So Carolyn Musings, she is on Facebook. She also has a group, One Way Journals. You can join that group. And also she is on Etsy and she has a Ko-fi. So I'll be listing all the kits below that I used in this, and anything else that I may have thought you might want to have idea where I bought it, I'll add those details on there too. Okay guys, you guys have a great day. God bless you all, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye.